Hi guys, AirsoftPost here, Q&A video. Today's question and answer is airsoft batteries, sort of basic overview, different types, basically what is an airsoft battery. So we're just going to get right into it. I have 3 different airsoft batteries here. You can divide them up in several ways. If you wanted to divide them by type, these are more Armalite series batteries, and this is more of a Kalashnikov series battery. You might find this in an M4, this in like an M16 or an M14, although M14 is not really Armalite. And this you would find in an AK. This stick type battery, as it's called for obvious reasons, is very distinct because it's basically all the cells just align in one row, and you can see the wire that sort of runs back, that runs across the top in this sort of ridge formation. You've probably seen this in our AK review. It runs along the top of the AK and sort of the spine of the gun, whereas these two are going to go inside of the stock. You can also divide them up by the connector, which is probably the more common way to do it. These two use what's called a small type Tamiya connector, and this one uses what's called a large type Tamiya connector. What does that mean? Well, you'll notice that the connectors on these batteries here, they look very similar, but the thing is they're actually, one is sort of a miniature version of the other. The Tamiya connector is the standard airsoft battery connection protocol, and you can see here with the small type battery, it's just a little bit smaller than the prongs of the large type battery. And so what that means is that this will go very nicely into my M4 because of the small type connector, but this isn't going to go in because it's got the large type Tamiya connector. This would only work in my M16 and vice versa. This would not work in my M16. There are ways around this. For example, this little piece here is a large to small Tamiya connector adapter. You simply plug in the apparatus that uses the large type here, and then you can hook up a small type battery here. In addition to being different in terms of the connectors on the batteries themselves, you have the chargers. The reason I have 2 chargers here that look very similar. These are both cheap chargers that I really wouldn't recommend using, that both came with clone AEGs, but we're just using them here for demonstration purposes. This one here, similarly to the large type Tamiya battery, has the large type connector. And to charge this battery up, you'd put this into a wall socket, and then you would just take the circle and line it up with the circular hole, the square with the square hole, and just push them in until you sort of heard a little click there, and then you'll notice that it's secure enough that it's not going to come apart on its own. And then to release, you just push down this little tab here, push it up, and just pull them apart. Sometimes it can be a little finicky. So that's pretty much all there is to say about the different types of airsoft battery connectors. Moving beyond that, like I said, there are different adapters, there are different ways to sort of work around this problem. For example, I can charge this type of battery on this charger, simply because I have the adapter here. Now, if I don't recommend these chargers, what would I recommend to charge your airsoft batteries? Well, that's a third-party accessory. It's called a smart charger. This is a reasonably low-priced model. It's called the D-Power Universal Smart Charger. You'll notice here it's for nickel-cadmium and nickel-metal hydride batteries, 7.2 volt to 12 volt battery packs. That's great for me. Most of the airsoft batteries that you're going to see are going to be either 8.4 volt, 7.2 volt, or 9.6 volt. Those are just sort of standard types of airsoft batteries, and that refers to the amount of voltage that the batteries deliver to the motor or gearbox of the AEG. So, for example, right here, this is an 8.4 volt battery pack. You can see right there on the rubber coating. And the way you figure out the voltage, if it's not written here, is you just count the cells. So here I can sort of see, if you just sort of feel with your finger, you notice there's 1, 2, 3 here, and there's 4, 5, 6, and that's 7. Each cell is sort of like a battery that you would just, use like this almost looks a little bit like one of those C batteries that you buy, and it provides 1.2 volts of electrical energy. So when you combine that, 7 of these are all connected by soldering and wires, you get a 7.2 volt battery. I'm sorry, this is an 8.4 volt battery, but for example, if there were one less, then it would be 7.2 volts. Similarly, we can see here the soldering connections much more easily on this battery right there, and the coating is clear, so you can much more clearly see that these are really just little individual battery cells that are connected together, and you can arrange them in different shapes. These are sort of in a rectangle here. This is in a stick, like I said, for the AK. For a PEQ laser box, they have batteries that are sort of arranged in this almost like weird Tetris L shape that sort of just fit very specifically into those different types of PEQ boxes. Moving back to the D-Power Universal Smart Charger, this is only like $20 to $30, and it comes with pretty much everything you're going to need to smart charge your batteries. Namely, the smart charger itself, right here, looks a little bit similar to the chargers included with AGs, but it's a little bit more advanced, and the reason is it's able to sort of detect the batteries, how much power they need before they're fully charged, and then stop at the appropriate time to prevent overcharging your batteries. Overcharging your batteries can not only cause them to wear down very quickly and become unusable, but it can actually be dangerous in some situations because they can get very hot. You just sort of plug in the adapter here, that goes in the wall outlet. Notice that you've got a large type Tamiya connector right here, but like the other adapter I showed you, here's the large to small adapter. And even large to alligator clips. This is really not so much for airsoft as it is for batteries that would just have terminals that you could, for example, just sort of clip these alligator clips onto. We wouldn't be using these for our purposes, but this could be good for maybe RC cars or lamp batteries. The gun also includes, the charger also includes a fuse that works inside of it, which is good because that prevents electrical surges from damaging the circuitry, and you get 2 spare fuses here in this little plastic bag. The instructions are decent. It's just sort of one sheet of paper here, but it makes it fairly clear. The great thing about a smart charger is that it's smart. It does the work for you. You can basically just plug and play. You just plug in your battery. It's going to light up or not light up, and depending on which model it is, it will either light up when it's done charging or stop lighting up when it's done charging. So it's much easier there. It's just a better way to charge your batteries. It's much safer. It's not going to damage your batteries. You're going to get the optimal charge every time. Because batteries, it's sort of maybe another video I'll do later. But the whole science behind how long you charge your batteries and what kind of batteries need what kind of charging period can get a little bit complicated for novice airsoft users. And this is just a $30 investment. You can get it on several websites. You can even get it on Amazon, and it just makes it so easy. I highly recommend it. It even comes with a little temperature sensor here to prevent overheating of your batteries. So that is the D-Power basic universal smart charger, a highly recommended product for a great price. Maybe if you don't want to get this one, if you want to get another one that you've seen from a brand that maybe you trust, that's totally fine. I'm sure there are plenty of great universal chargers out there, but the important thing is to realize is that the Chinese clone companies here, the reason that the guns are offered for such a low price is because clearly the chargers and accessories like that, the reason they're able to send them to you without driving up the price is because this is a very, very cheap piece of equipment. It'll get you by in a pinch, but it's really not going to work very well. Sometimes they heat up, sometimes they're dysfunctional. You have to keep a close eye on your batteries and do sort of some mathematical calculations, which aren't that difficult to figure out how long the optimal charge period is, but I say it's just not worth it. So there you have it. Different types of Tamiya connectors for airsoft batteries, different shapes and sizes of batteries. I'm sorry I don't have more batteries to show you. I only have the stick type and sort of the standard rectangle type. But rest assured, if you look, you will find several different types of batteries not shown in this video. I hope this video was educational and informative, and please keep your questions coming.